So maybe I can take that one out. Good enough. I only see my goals. I don't believe. What am I doing? Okay, right here. Reframing accountability can do that, but we want. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Sorry, I'm just getting it set up on my TikTok too. Now just give it 1 or 2 minutes. We're not going to go crazy with it, but for right now, I'm still going live on TikTok, but I think because TikTok just likes smaller kind of things, smaller videos and stuff, maybe what I'm going to do, welcome Talia, what I'm going to do is start doing the lives and the longer videos, I think, on YouTube, and then just posting the shorts, and then they can go back, because I think that may be easier and more sustainable for everybody there. Welcome, Damien. Kay Beasley, welcome. Welcome, Pam. All right, so I have my notes with me. I always have to have my notes so I don't go off on tangents, because I like to do that too. Welcome, Simon. Today we're talking about patterns, right? They're not moral failures. We're just learning how to track our patterns, not our worth, which when we start to see the patterns, we tend to end up self-sabotaging, because we take those patterns as something that is shameful or something to be hidden, and that's not the case. And if we can learn to reframe that and understand what those patterns are trying to teach us, then we have a really, really strong ability to change it and observe it without punishing ourselves. Welcome, Ismail and A. Welcome. So, yeah, what keeps repeating? We want to check that out. We want to understand that. We want to observe that without judgment. Why am I like this? What is this? What am I doing to deserve this, right? We're not going to punish it. We just want to observe it so we can change it after we start to understand it. Learning to give ourselves that little bit of grace allows for that space. So we just want some neutral observation, right? No self-judgment. Sorry, I'm keeping up with both. And I got to look here, look there. Welcome, Zaza and John Patrick. So when we get curious, we can change the outcome. We're not punishing ourselves. We're not allowing for self-sabotage. We're not saying we're not worth it. Or we're not allowing those patterns to say, I'm not worth this, because you are immediately, inherently. And when we start understanding that and trusting that, we allow ourselves a space to grow, to understand, to become self-aware, and to show ourselves where we can change and where we can make small little differences that will create really big changes, right? So patterns ask for attention, not punishment. And if we can anchor that phrase just a little bit and begin to understand that truly that's all it's asking us to understand. Welcome, Carrie, and welcome, Joey. So when we talk about accountability, most people think it means catching mistakes, pointing out what went wrong, fixing ourselves, the usual. But true accountability isn't about worth. It's not the thing that hinders us or punishes us or says we've done something wrong. And that's a really big part of discernment to understand, right? It's about patterns, right? It's about understanding what they are, how they came to be, because a lot of them are out of self-preservation, protection, the things that we do to uh, make space, protect ourselves, push things away that don't feel safe. And what happens is you continue to do that so much, it becomes an inherent pattern that you didn't even realize you were doing. Welcome, Katester. So, uh, it's about the patterns, and a pattern is simply something that keeps repeating because it hasn't been understood yet. It's going to keep coming up and keep coming up until you stop and pay attention to it, until you understand what it is and you begin to become aware of it. So that when it happens again, you're noticing, oh, it's coming up again. So what is this angle? What is this thing that needs to be seen or to be heard? Now you can start getting curious, and that's when we start actually winning and overcoming these struggles. Denopoly, Ras, Rocky, Alicia, Macy, welcome. Michael, Johnny, Exo, Ainsley, welcome. Derek and Just, welcome. All right, so patterns are not proof that you're broken, they're information. If something keeps showing up, it's not asking what's wrong with me. It's asking, why am I trying to protect? What am I trying to protect, avoid, or meet here? Right? What is it we're trying to see? How can we understand it? And what exactly is it that makes it upsetting or stressful? Right? Liam, Jade, and Kitty, welcome. What am I trying to protect, avoid, or meet here? This is where accountability becomes compassionate and not punitive. We're not here to punish ourselves. We all make mistakes. 11:33 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. We all make mistakes. We all don't always understand it, but 9 times out of 10, those patterns, those things that take us to self-sabotage or shame or guilt or fear are because of this thing that's always been trying to protect us, thinking that it was protecting us. And maybe when we were 6 or 8 or 10, it was trying to protect us because we didn't know a better way then, right? So when we learn and when we understand that and we observe that and we say, yeah, you're right. I didn't know better then, but I do know better now. And I didn't understand. And thank you for helping me back then. But I'm bigger now. I understand. I have a better capacity. 7:27 when I said that on the clock, on the timer. Um, I have a better capacity. So I allow myself that space to uh, say, I don't need that kind of protection anymore. I'm glad that you were there and thank you for protecting me along the way. But when you validate it and you begin to understand it, not only do you stop doing it, right? It doesn't become a trigger, it doesn't become a reaction thing that takes you to self spiraling. It allows you a space to say, okay, I got this. I understand what it is. So now each time when the chaos comes about, when um that negative self talk, when that spiral feels like it's imminent, you can stop and go, oh, wait, I've seen this pattern before. Uh, Maybe if I just take a moment and understand it, I fixed it over there. I caught it that time. So what am I missing about this time? Why is it forming over here doing this? Right, and it's just about getting curious, and that's all I'm ever asking to do. You don't have to fix everything, and it takes commitment, and accountability takes showing up and checking in. But when you start to do it, you don't spiral anymore. You're observing, you're not judging, you're seeing yourself, and you're understanding what it is that you and why it is that you felt you needed to protect yourself. Right, so that spiral feels like accountability, but it isn't. It's punishment wearing accountability's clothes. When we start punishing ourselves, uh, we end up with this shame, this fear, this guilt, this thing that we don't understand. And yes, sometimes we lash out. Sometimes we do these things because that's part of the spiral. That's part of the shame, the guilt, the reaction that comes from that trigger. And the whole idea is when we can catch it in the trigger or before the trigger is coming, we begin to understand exactly how to adjust and say, oh, I've seen this before. I already know where this spiral is going to go. And I don't need that. I don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that, right? And you start to change very quickly because you're catching it. You're becoming more and more self-aware. Cam the man, welcome. Trey Sweet, Pamela, Stefane, welcome. Right. So A pattern might look like avoiding the same task every week, that thing you really don't like to do. Um, and maybe it's something that you don't have to do. Maybe instead of going to that spiral or piling that thing on that you really don't like, maybe there's something you could do and say, well, maybe I could just once a week hire someone else to do it. Or if it's something that you desperately don't need to do, right? Or there's something I really don't like this. So maybe every time I do this, I'm going to start treating myself when I complete the task, right? I really need to start celebrating myself a little more along the way. And that becomes a really great space. Not so secret. Welcome. User 803, welcome. And then we have snapping at the same trigger, right? These triggers, you'd be like, why did I just snap at that cashier? They didn't do anything to me. They said one word, right? Or they didn't look up properly or something. But it's triggers something in you that where you felt abandoned, left out, put aside, diminished, right? And when you start understanding that and noticing that, I'm not telling you what the pattern is. It could be many things. But when you start getting curious and that answer comes up, you now have the ability to fix it, to change it, observe it, witness it, validate it, and then integrate it. And that's when it becomes more important for than anything. Welcome, Alex, and grateful. So, abandoning routines after starting them, uh, testing your commitment, right? Prime example is New Year's resolutions, right? We all tend to get in that loop, and then it becomes a shameful or a failure or setting yourself up for defeat. That's what it feels like. So it's like, well, I might as well not even start. But what you don't understand is when you look at it and be like, maybe that's just not something that I really want to do, right? If it's not a priority, then maybe I should stop putting that on my priority list. If that's not something that I'm ready, willing, and able to commit to, instead of punishing myself all the time or feeling shameful um, when I don't make it all the way, we start small, right? Okay, I did it for 3 days. Let's celebrate the 3 days. Oh, the fourth day, little celebration, right? Uh, we got to stop letting the anxiety, and a lot of times that's what it is. It's the commitment, the anxiety of having all this laid out before you, and you're like, oh my God, I have to do all that. And it becomes really overwhelming. But when you notice that, it's like, okay, so maybe I don't commit to just that. And I commit to just, 2 days and then another 2 days and then another 2 days. Welcome, Jeanette and my welcome. OLHA, welcome. So it's just beginning to understand what it is. And when you observe it without judging yourself, without punishing yourself, oh, I always screw it up. Oh, I always give up. What is wrong with me? Maybe it's nothing wrong with you. Maybe it's you're already setting yourself up for failure because instead of committing to a smaller thing that is possible and starting with that small and say, okay, well, let's try again tomorrow. Can I make it tomorrow? And challenge yourself in a much smaller manner so the steps are easier to accomplish. Then you're celebrating the wins instead of punishing yourself when you feel you didn't make it. We just really need to learn how to reframe that because being accountable doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It means you know how to work it out when things go awry. You know how to build it in so you're not punishing yourself along the way. What's I say? Juliet, welcome. Hope, Aaron Johnson, welcome. So, um, over explaining or shutting down in the same situations. And I was a prime example of that. I used to always do that when uh, I would do something. And because I was so used to people putting this negative connotation to something that I was doing. And mind you, that was a whole abuse struggle situation, not just abuse, but um, yeah, it is a form of abuse. But at the end of the day, it was this constant attack on your character, right, by people that were committed to misunderstanding you. And when you deal with those people, that's when you have to learn to say, sorry, I'm just not having that because I don't agree with that. And I'm not here to fight you, right? You don't have to defend yourself. But learning to understand that when you're overcoming that loop, that struggle, welcome, BJ. It's very hard to understand. And you don't see those cycles. And you're like, why am I explaining this? Why am I saying these things? Uh, I shouldn't have to do that. I am who I am. I show up. I do the things. My actions speak louder than anything. So why do I have to constantly explain my actions if I know that my actions are done with integrity and with the greatest intent? We're not intending to hurt anybody. If people choose to constantly put a negative connotation on that, you can't change that. Um, and no matter what you say, think, or do, if somebody doesn't want to change their mind or have an open heart or understand, you can't force them to do that. So learning to observe that, first of all, why am I doing that? Because you don't need to. Um, and instead of punishing yourself, saying, man, I always do that. Okay, but that's because I need to start showing up for myself. So when you notice it and go, I'm not explaining anymore, you find it, you catch it, and you're like, yeah, I see the pattern. And now when this comes and I start to go, and I want to speak out, no, you got your answer. That's the action. That's it. And then you learn how to do that. And it's going to feel weird the first few times, but now you've caught that pattern, you've named it, you've changed it. And now that practice of it is going to take a moment, and it is going to feel uncomfortable because it's out of your comfort zone. Uh, and that's okay. When you learn to do that, you set yourself up for success instead of failure. And if you start over explaining yourself instead of saying, oh, I'm so stupid, why did I do that again? It's okay. It's a pattern. I'm working on it, and I'm going to do better. I'm going to take notice a little faster next time. There's a big difference from beating yourself up to say, but I've been doing really well, and I'm going to notice it a little better next time, and I'm going to do better, right? It's a much better difference, and it doesn't leave you in a place where you feel like you have to beat yourself up or punish yourself. So, um, instead of asking, why are you like this? Try asking, when does this show up, right? When do I feel like I have to over explain myself? Is it around certain people, places, things, triggers, certain situations, scenarios? Just get curious. Start asking, holy hell, I don't know what that was. That popped up. That was a lot. Um, when does this show up? What was happening right before? Was there something that made me a little anxious? It's 11:44 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. Um, what was happening before, right? Was I a little anxious? Was I in an unsafe situation? Was I becoming dysregulated? Was I not sleeping properly? Was like, get curious. Notice what leads to the pattern, because when you start noticing those things without judging yourself, you're just noticing and you're getting curious as if you are an outsider looking in. You stop judging and you start saying, well, how could I change that? Can't change it until you notice it, right? You have to notice how it happens, where it comes from, all of the things that go around. I don't know what that means. Uh, sorry, it was some team match thing, but I don't know how that works. Um, when does this show up? What was happening right before? What emotion was present first? Was I getting angry? Was I frustrated? Was I overtired? Was I too happy, anxious, outgoing, giving too much? Welcome, SSS77. Welcome. Um, what emotion was present first? Patterns don't repeat because you're failing. They repeat because something hasn't been seen clearly yet. So that it allows you a space to understand what that is. You're really kind. Thank you for that. I believe we're all beautiful, but still very sweet. Thank you. Um, So when we have neutral observation versus self-judgment, it's one of the most important shifts. And when we start taking that moment, we have a space to become neutral. We're not picking sides. They're right, I'm right. We're not worried about any of that. We're just focusing on what matters, right? What does it mean? How did I get here? What does that change? Welcome. Welcome. So it's one of the most important shifts. Self-judgment sounds like, I screwed this up again. Man, I could have did better. What was I thinking? Welcome, Maya. I'm terrible at consistency. How am I going to keep showing up? How am I going to keep doing this? I'm never going to complete this. That's what self-judgment sounds like. Shmarm, welcome. I can't be trusted. right? Like I'm setting myself up for failure. There's a million negative things that you can come in. And when you speak that out, that's exactly what you're telling the universe, right? And you're also telling yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, your soul. You're telling yourself the same thing. So you're just beating yourself down with your own negative thoughts. Um, because you're comparing to somebody else or somebody else's life or what they have going on, not, and sometimes not even intentionally, not consciously. It's just in the background because of all the programs, right? I got to be this, I got to be that, I'm supposed to be like this is supposed to be, my religion says this, my culture says this, my mom says this, my dad says this, my teacher said that, and you've got this whole weight of everybody else's projections for you, sometimes to the point where you don't even know what you want for you. So we're trying to peel through that and understand that if we can just be neutral, we're just outside looking in. We're not any of those people. We're just ourselves. What would we think and feel if we were watching this scenario, if we were watching the space from somebody else, watching somebody else do it, right? So when you have neutral observation, this is what it sounds like. I notice I avoid this when I feel overwhelmed, right? I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to talk. I don't want to, um, I just shut down, right? I notice that this happens. So, how can I change that? What is it that's making me overwhelmed? How can I avoid getting overwhelmed so that this doesn't happen? Now you're asking questions and you're ready to learn. Cordial, welcome. Billy Farmer, welcome. Um, I tend to I tend to shut down when I expectations feel unclear. So maybe I need to get clear on it. Maybe I need to really, really break it down. If I'm feeling unclear, happy Friday to you too. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Um, this is an important one. This is probably one of the hardest ones for me, right? Welcome, Camilla and Polo. I tend to shut down when expectations feel unclear, right? And then you need to really get clear. Are we talking expectations from work? Are we talking about expectations from other people? Are we talking about our own expectations? And when we get to that space, we have an absolute drawing board, right? Is this somebody else's expectation? Is this my expectation? Why is my expectation unclear? Because I'm the one who's expecting it, right? So you're asking these questions, but you're not judging yourself. You're not saying, oh, well, you're stupid. You don't even have clear expectations. You're getting clear because you're asking the question. And okay, so how can I narrow this down? Because if it feels unclear, then maybe I need to ask more questions, right? So if I have to ask more questions, that's how I'm going to get the answers. Who am I going to ask? If you're at work, you're going to ask your boss. If it's you dealing with you, you're going to ask your own questions to your own self. Welcome, Lamine and Reindeer. Welcome. So, and then we have this pattern shows up when I'm tired, not when I'm motivated. So maybe it comes down to literally just showing up, saying, I'm really tired today, so my capacity is only at this. So maybe to avoid this pattern, I'm going to start going to bed a little bit earlier, sleeping a little more. Welcome, Moon Love and Peyton. Welcome. But when you notice it, first of all, that's when the self-awareness kicks in. That's when it starts, and that's really a great space to be. But second, it starts giving you answers to those questions, right? You're asking the question, right? You're noticing this, and you're saying, well, why does that happen? Now we're starting to see the pattern, and we say, it shows up when I'm tired. So how can I change that? Is there something I can do more? Is there a way that I can center myself before I get to this point? And now you're finding answers. You're searching for answers, but you're seeing the patterns. And that means if you see the pattern, you already know this far back that pattern's starting to form. You're starting to see it again. So now you have about 10 steps already before you get to where the pattern turns into a trigger or a negative thing, right? You're seeing the pattern leading up to it. So either anywhere along this place, you can stop, right? You can be aware. And it doesn't matter where you become aware of it. The earlier, obviously, the better, because you don't allow yourself the space to break down, to freak out, to get upset, to get agitated. Learning how to do that takes practice and commitment. So we're not beating ourselves up when we don't do it perfectly. We're saying, okay, maybe we could try something different tomorrow. because a lot of it's trial and error, but it's just commitment to yourself. And that's when your highest form of self-love really starts. House family, Matthew, uh, Dyke, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Respectfully, welcome. Troy, welcome. Sorry, I didn't see who that was. Okay. So this pattern shows up when I'm tired, not when I'm motivated. Neutral observation removes shame from the equation. And here's the key: shame blocks change, right? Automatically, you're trying to hide. You don't want people to see it. And you pack it away so you don't got to deal with it. And when that happens, you're just weighing yourself down and you're causing more stuff that you're going to have to eventually sort through. And we don't want to do that. Welcome, Michelle and Jacob. Welcome. So, shame blocks change. Awareness creates it, right? That's when we start to get answers, seek answers, understand, make changes. And sometimes it's the smallest, most simple change that can completely eliminate the spiral. It can completely eliminate the beating yourself up and the space where accountability is punishing, right? We don't want that. We want it to be empowering, enlightening, and a space of understanding so that we're always growing. And when we learn to do that, we get to a space where we can do it in motion. We can do it before it happens. We can see, I'm already feeling uncomfortable today. I feel tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I'm not going to go put myself in a bunch of public settings where the chances of me getting frustrated, getting agitated is already much higher because I got far less sleep, right? We already know how that day can go based on what's happened. So we're not going to go try and do some big long seminar. We're not going to go um, try to join some public setting that's like large parking and waiting and frustrating in traffic, because we already know how we're going to behave, because we know that when we're overtired, we become more irritable, right? So we can change that, and we can understand that our capacity isn't for that, and change our behaviors, change our actions, change how we relate to ourselves and others, so we don't ever get in that predicament, right? So that means you've noticed it, you see in the pattern, and you understand how you behave. And instead of allowing it to get to that, you made a different choice that changed the whole thing. So that pattern never had to happen. And that's not avoiding anything. That's understanding that a simple change can create something that absolutely avoids this pattern from happening. And when you understand that and you start sensing those things and you see it creeping up, you can say, oh, all right, I already not feeling good right now. I feel a little tired. I feel drained. I'm going to stop. I'm going to just not do that. And I'm going to change my mind. And I'm going to go do something that makes me happy, that makes me feel more empowered, that makes me feel capable, that's not going to punish or shame me, right? So you completely avoid that uh, because you noticed the pattern. You didn't punish yourself for it or have to be ashamed of it afterwards, right? And that's a big, big step. Welcome, Audrey. So the moment you stop judging the pattern, your nervous system relaxes. You're not dysregulated anymore. That relaxation is what makes different choices possible. You're not beating yourself up. You're not punishing yourself. You're not waiting for the next shoe to drop, because you're already seeing that this is how the pattern goes. And if I stop it anywhere along here and I make a different choice, I can completely stop that pattern. And then when you start understanding that more and more and more, okay, but why does that happen when I'm tired? Why does that happen when I'm overwhelmed? Why does that happen? And so you've already learned how to catch it along the way. Now you're getting curious. And the more you start asking why and how and what and where, all of those things, you start asking those questions and getting those answers, you get closer to the core of what it really is. And when you get down to the core, you can sit with it, understand it, and integrate it, then those triggers don't even come to play. Then far, far earlier in the path, you can avoid all of that. Welcome, Aquamarina, Shan Mei, and Ellie. Welcome. So, yeah, the moment you stop judging the pattern, your nervous system relaxes, and that relaxation is what makes the different choices possible. It's really, really a simple way to go about it when you look at it. And then the curiosity. This is what I talk about. It's one of the things I talk about the most. And I do that because um, curiosity is the bridge between awareness and change, right? That's how we get our answers. Uh, that's how, just like a child, right? If you think like a child, why, why? How many times a day does your kid ask you why? A student, your neighbor's kid that sees you, why? They'll ask you something and then you answer them, why? That's exactly what we want to think about when we're doing this. When we can start asking ourselves why and understand, we give space, first of all, right? Because when you ask a question, you're not angry, upset, or triggered. You're being self aware and you're saying, okay, I understand that this is a pattern. I've seen it, I've noticed the pattern, but why is it happening? How can I get to the bottom of this? How can I understand? How can I make those changes? Right? You're not saying, oh, I'm stupid because I have this pattern and I can't stand it. And it just always ends up into negativity. So, screw it. I'm just going to give up on everything. And that's the spiral. And that happens more often than not. And it's really sad that it happens more often than not. But learning how to get curious with it gives you that space, right? Good morning, Viola and Tanis and Tino. Welcome. All right. So, curiosity is the bridge between awareness and change. Instead of trying to fix the pattern, you just get curious, right? What is this pattern? Why is it happening? Why is it creating such chaos in my life, right? Um, Here are check-in questions you can use uh, just to check in with yourself, right? Just to say, am I doing okay? Am I on the right path? Is this saying, am I asking the right questions? Is this going to get me to the answer of what this trigger, of what this spiral, of what this pattern is before I get to there, right? It's just simple little questions. What is this pattern trying to protect me from? Usually that's a big part of it. That's usually how patterns are formed. Whether it ends up self-sabotage, doesn't matter what it ends up in. That's usually what it's from, right? It's trying to protect you from something. And it could be something as small as a young child, right? Something that created this fear that you didn't know how to protect yourself from. So it was an automatic behavior that you did to keep people, things, pressurized situations, chaos away, whatever it may be. That's what you use to protect you in that situation. However, the more you use it, it became ingrained in your body, just like muscle memory. It's the same idea, right? And when you understand it like that, that muscle memory was something, yeah, you were 6, yeah, you were 8, you were a child. You didn't know there was a better way. There was a more balanced way. So when you're doing that, you're not trying to punish yourself. You're saying, I didn't know any better. But now I do know better. And I thank you for trying to protect me. And you literally have to talk to yourself sometimes and say, I understand. It wasn't a negative thing. It wasn't something you meant to hurt me, but I'm older now and I understand there's many different ways and we can do that. And when you begin to integrate that, you're telling your inner child, thank you. Thank you for trying to protect me. Um, I don't need to be scared of that anymore. It's not okay. I don't need to worry about that anymore. And then you calm your nervous system. It doesn't keep coming up because every time you check in with it, you're saying, that's an old thing and we don't need that. We're not playing the old records anymore, right? Welcome, Lex and Kristen and Brar. Welcome. So, another question. What feels unsafe or uncomfortable right before this shows up? Because that's almost always how these patterns start showing up. You start to feel dysregulated. You feel unsure. You don't feel safe. You're worried about what's happening, what's going on. Um, and immediately it goes to that spiral. It goes to that reaction. It goes to that pattern. And even if it's not immediate trigger, it starts your behaviors, your mannerisms, the way you speak, the way you react. Are you defensive? Are you going to answer? All of those things are part of the pattern, right? So, but you know that it's coming because you were feeling uncomfortable. So when you can get to that pinpoint and that understanding of whatever that was that made you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, then you give yourself a space. You can breathe and you can say, oh, okay, so this is what we got to check in with. Not, I'm going to beat myself up. Not, I'm not worth it. Oh, I'm horrible. Why am I getting upset again? You're saying, why did I feel unsafe? What was it there that made me feel unsafe? Was it a person? Was it a place? Was it a thing? Was it someone else's behavior? Was it too much traffic? Was it an extremely high bridge that just caused anxiety for fear of heights, and it just went left from there? It could be anything. But when you get curious and you start seeing it, you understand it. Oh, Joey, welcome, welcome. All right. So, what need might be underneath this behavior? So, what are you missing? What is it you need to understand? What are you feeling, or what are you feeling in lack of? Right. So, when you start to get curious and you can see what it is, you give yourself some space. Welcome, Carlos. I can't read your name, Brooklyn. I think. Sorry, I can't really read that writing, but welcome. And then what would happen if I didn't force myself? So a lot of times what happens is I don't know why, can I not see chat? I don't know. Get out of here. Sorry, I want to make sure it's working. Okay, good. Michael, welcome. Sorry, I want to make sure it was working because it came in and out, but I didn't see it. All right. So, what would happen if I didn't force myself right now? If I just allowed myself to sit and pause and feel? It's such a simple thing, but many of us don't do it. And I know that we don't do it. I'm the queen of not, I'll do it later. I'll deal with it later. I don't have time for this. Many years in my life. And it hindered me greatly because then by the time it was time to deal with it, I was so overwhelmed. I was so agitated. I was so frustrated that it was just spewed everything out, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't, there was no context, there was no nothing. And it was just overwhelmed. And then I was just spilling that on to everyone else. And people had to try to sort through and understand what I was trying to say because I couldn't even understand what I was trying to say. And when we get to that space, uh, we hinder ourselves so bad, but instead when we can look at it and say, if I don't force myself and I just sit here for a moment and I just feel this and understand this, I can avoid that whole entire trigger, right? And we want to do that, right? Sweet Angel, good morning. Simon Pierre, welcome. And then where did I learn this response? This is a really good one because a lot of times it's something so simple and it might not even be something that you've done. It could be, well, my parents were arguing. This is what happened in this behavior, and that made me feel scared or in chaos or upset. Um, and I saw that that worked for my mom. I saw that that worked for my dad. I saw that that worked for my teacher when she was frustrated with the kids, right? Where did you learn it, first of all? And is it relevant to what's happening right now going on? That's kind of a space where when you understand that and you can look at where you learned it, you can go, yeah, maybe that wasn't the best example, right? But when you're in the trigger, you can't see that, and then you're so upset with yourself because you went back to the same thing. We don't want to do that. We don't want to punish ourselves. We're getting curious. We're asking questions, and we're saying, I deserve the answer. And if I take the time to check in with the answer, I can avoid a lot of this happening. Welcome, Shelby and AISV. Welcome. And then, what does this pattern actually make easier for me? So is this pattern doing something that's good, beneficial, or is it making it a struggle? Is it making me feel overwhelmed? Is it making me feel like I'm going to explode because I'm holding things in? Is it like when you look at it and say, okay, is there anything that is making easier for me? And the answer is no. What's your first response going to be? Well, why am I keeping that? Why am I holding on to this? Because if it's not helping me and if it's not making anything easier or better, faster, more efficient, more compassionate, if it's not making my life any of those things, why am I still holding on to it? Right? It's a really important one. What does this pattern actually make easier for me? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be nothing, right? It's something, it actually makes it harder for you. So when you become that self-aware and can ask those questions, you can really say, yeah, I don't like that one. So how can I change that? it's one of the best questions you can ask yourself. And it's so simple. And you're not going to be mad or upset with the answer. You're just going to be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Welcome, Connie and John. Joey, welcome back. Um, and then we have, what would support look like instead of discipline? So if I had help with this, if somebody could help me organize, understand, um, catch it in motion, right? Catch it as I'm doing it. Um, what would it look like? How could I get support on this? Is it looking up a video? Is it coming to something like this? Is it maybe a little counseling because it's overwhelming? Is it talking to a friend? Is it asking your partner or your mom or your or even your kids when they're a little bit older? Can you just give me a few minutes space so I can calm down? I just could use a little support right now because I'm struggling and I just need a moment to get myself together. That's support, right? And that's you saying, I trust myself and I love myself enough to understand that we all need support. Sometimes it was just 40-40 on the timer there, um, which is a really great number. And that's how you create your foundations, right? Your stability. And it really does matter. Um, and for every action, there is a reaction. So if we can understand what the support looks like that we may need, and it could just be us showing up. Okay, maybe I just to support myself instead of disciplining myself. Maybe let's go to bed a little bit earlier. Let's drink a nice lavender tea or something before bed and relax, calming. Is it going to be a shower or a bath or something? Lay out, relax right before bed. There are things that you can do to support yourself. Maybe put your phone away, journal a little bit, or read a little bit of a novel, like not actually on your phone, like pick up a novel, the hand-in book, and read it. It could be things like that, right? Little things that you can do to support yourself instead of discipline yourself or punish yourself. So if I know that this support looks like, then I know how to give it to myself. I also know how to ask for it. So if there's something, how could we help you with this? You can actually know how to answer. But if you don't look for it and if you don't get curious and understand what it is, how can you tell somebody how you would like them to help you, right? Welcome, Tanisha and May. And then curiosity doesn't excuse behavior, it explains it. An explanation gives you options, right? We're not saying wait until you freak out, wait until the last moment, wait until all of this happens. What we're saying is, in these moments, if I can get curious, why am I getting to this point? How can I stop at any stage before it gets to this point? And sometimes you're going to have to peel back the layers, and sometimes you're going to have to ask multiple questions, not just one, right? But start with one, because even just one gets you to the pause. It gets you to the understanding without the punishment, without the criticism, without the spiral that says, I'm not worth it. I should have never bothered. I just knew I was going to screw it up. We're not doing that anymore. We're saying, how come it didn't go through the way I was looking at? How come that didn't happen, right? Welcome, Anonymous. And then taking a breath. This is just like plain everyday example. Is so simple, but that one little breath, that one little moment can save you before you ever get to the spiral. It can save you before you get into that negative thought process that says, I'm just going to beat myself up because I'm not worth it and screw it. I'm just going to let it all go to hell. And I used to get to that point too. And I would just get fed up. I was like, boiling kettle ready to go, right? Just a ticking time bomb at any given moment. Um, and it wasn't until I started getting curious and saying, what's happening in this moment? Taking that breath, no matter what I wanted to say, wanted to do in that moment, didn't matter. I was going to stand there just perfectly still and what is going on? How can I understand this? How can I observe this? Get curious. How can I stop this from going to sabotage mode, to all out reaction, to all out defense, to all out self sabotage? And the moment I asked that question and I took that breath, I went from almost rage to curiosity. And as that temperature dial goes down, your vibration goes up. So now you just stop aligning with all this negative stuff, right? You're not aligning with the things that make you um, overwhelmed, exhausted, agitated. You're saying, nope, I'm not feeding into that. I'm going to feed into the curiosity, and I'm going to start to understand that. And even if that means saying, hey, I don't have the capacity to deal with this right now. I don't have, it's 12:12 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. If I don't have the capacity to deal with this right now, I don't have what it takes, and I don't want to fight, and I don't want to freak out, and I don't want to be upset with you. So I'm going to take some space, and we can reconnect at a later time, and we can discuss it, right? And when you learn to do that, you completely eliminated that whole entire spiral because you took a breath, right? And that's a really great space to be. Kirker Abram, welcome. Ali, welcome. Good morning, Alicia. So, yeah, pause for a moment. Take one slow breath, just like I showed you. That breath can save lives, and I kid you not. The ability to go from rage, clear on almost rage, like gonna kill somebody, to uh, okay, how do I understand this? How do I get curious? What is going on? Is it's immense. It's a huge thing. That pause will can save lives. Like literally can save lives. Um, Notice what you're feeling before you try to fix it. Right? Uh, what am I feeling? Am I enraged? Am I just angry? Am I scared? What is it? Right? So that one breath allows your brain to go, oh, what is it? Where? Why? How? What? Right? But we're not beating ourselves up. We're not saying, why do we do that? How do we're not punishing ourselves. Why is this happening? Why do I feel anxious? Why do I feel upset? Why do I feel worried? Why? Not kill, 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 fight, fight, fight. Do you see the difference? Your brain doesn't feel like I got to survive. It's just why? It's a huge, huge, huge difference. And when we get to that space, man, the things that we can change. So when you pause instead of reacting, the spiral slows, right? Immediately you go from self-sabotage and all the craziness to, okay, what's going on here? How can I understand? Welcome, Kara. The nervous system downshifts. We're not in survival mode anymore. We're not freaking out. We're not worried. We know that we're going to figure it out. And if we just take time, and if that means we have to separate ourselves from the people, places, or things in that moment, that's what we do. It's not a punishment. It's saying, listen, this is not a safe space right now. I don't feel good about it. And I don't want it to be conflict, confrontation, or craziness. So respectfully, I'm going to step back, step away, and figure my own stuff out. And I wish you the best, right? And there's many ways that you can do that. You don't even have to explain all that. Sorry, but I got to go. I'm not taking part in this, right? You don't have to be crazy explanation. You don't have to over explain anything, but understanding that to your own self, not only is that a good thing, that's something that you should be celebrating. When you can understand that, take that breath, get curious, understand what it is, and say, okay, I don't have the capacity to understand, deal, and figure this out while I'm around you, and you, or I'm in this space, or I'm there, and say, okay, I'm relieving myself of that area, and I'm going to go by myself so I can figure this out. You are killing it. You're already overcoming it. You're understanding it, and you're not punishing yourself. You're trusting yourself and understanding that everybody has these struggles, and you don't need to do it in every single area when someone tells you. You do it in your own time, in your own space, where you don't have to punish yourself or worry about somebody else's judgment. That's a huge, huge win. Welcome, Sherry and Manny. Welcome. All right. So the nervous system downshift, the pattern loses its grip. It's not going to continue to hold on. It's not going to stay there in the way, blocking what you're trying to actually accomplish. It's only going to stay as long as you ignore it. It's going to keep coming up and coming up and coming up. But once you say, "Oh, hi pattern, I see you. I don't understand everything you're trying to accomplish just yet, but I see you. So now all I'm asking is why you keep popping up. what is happening that is saying, and that's all it's asking you to do is say, hey, I see you, and I want to know why you keep showing up, what's happening, and how we can change that. So you're becoming more and more self-aware every single day, every time you do that. But in doing that, you're healing. People don't put enough, I think that they don't put enough weight on what these questions and what these abilities do. Um, People pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on uh, therapy. And I'm not ever going to tell you don't go to therapy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you get curious and when you go to therapy, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you these same exact things. The whole thing is they're trying to get to the core of the issue. But when you start learning and practicing how to do this, you show up. Not only are you healing yourself naturally, you're doing the things, you're not fighting it, you're not punishing yourself, you're not weighing yourself down with all these other things. You're saying, okay, I see you, I understand, how can I make this better, right? And it's not always going to be perfect. Not the first answer may not always be the exact one, but the more you show up and the more you try and the more you catch it before it's a trigger and a spiral that ends up this shame and guilt and all that cycle that you end. You're catching it 4, 5, 6 steps back. Now it's 10 steps back. Now it's 12 steps back. And you're catching it because you're understanding how it works. And as you understand how it works, it's easier to soothe. It's easier to show up, and it's easier to match with something that overcomes it, right? Something great, something good, something positive, that stops that spiral completely, right? And it doesn't matter if you stop it at the last minute or the very beginning. The goal is obviously the very beginning, but we're not punishing ourselves for where we notice it. The idea is that the more we start noticing it, it's going to come easier and easier and easier and easier. And that's worth celebrating. We're not punishing ourselves, right? So, but if we punish ourselves and we show up with that shame, anger, fear, guilt, all those things, now you got to pull all that. You got to sort through all that before you get back down to the core, before you understand the trigger. That's why I'm trying to teach these small little spaces, the bite-sized ways that we can actually show up. Welcome, Ali, Olivia, and love my mom. Oh, I love that. Welcome. And then observation interrupts shame immediately, right? Because we're just getting curious. Why did that happen? Right? Not why did I screw up? Why am I a mess up? Why am I a horrible person? Why did that happen? Why did I start immediately going to this? What was going on around me? What happened? That that curiosity just absolutely obliterates shame, guilt, fear. Uh, and it's doing it in a positive way. So now you go from ready to spiral to, holy crap, I just learned something about myself and I feel good about it. And I think I know how to overcome it. I have some ideas, some suggestions that maybe if I try these, they may not be perfect, but I could maybe try this and maybe try this. And now you're starting to pack tools in your tool belt, and you're catching it earlier and earlier. Welcome, Ulysses and June. Destiny, good morning. So when we interrupt the shame with observation, you're not saying this doesn't matter. You're saying this deserves attention, not attack. I hope you're doing good. Oh yeah, you don't move till next week, right? Is it next week? And then patterns ask for attention, not punishment. This is where accountability becomes empowering. Punishment sounds like forcing productivity, doing the things you don't want to do. Of course, I remembered. I'm busy, but I still I have all kinds of stuff always going on. I try to keep up, but uh, it's been crazy. Grace gets out of school earlier, and lots of other things going on that just keep me nonstop running. But I'm making space for myself too. I've learned how to do that, which is why I'm sharing it so we all can learn. Welcome, Lauren. All right, so this is where accountability becomes empowering, and this is really important because we don't beat ourselves up anymore. We don't say, "Hey, we screwed that up. Hey, I should have did this. Shoulda, woulda, coulda." I'm so over that, and I'm sure most people are because we're sick and tired of beating ourselves up when we really are just trying our best. Uh, and sometimes trying our best isn't perfect, but what it is saying, could I do better? Yeah. is there a suggestion that maybe I could do better for myself? Okay, that's a really great thing. Now, am I going to beat myself up for it? No, I'm just going to try and do a little bit better. Queen Joyce, welcome. How are you? Is Andrew my future partner? I have no idea. Right now, I'm doing my learning on accountability without self punishment. I'm not okay. Why is that? We should always be okay. Uh, Definitely get curious and start asking questions because we don't, if you're not okay, that's got to be your first and foremost priority. That's it. That's all. Uh, don't move forward. Don't do anything until you know if you're okay. Right. No, it doesn't matter if you know or not know it's okay. You got to check in with yourself. You got to know it's going to be okay. The big difference is it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean everything's going to happen, but you need to say, am I okay? Am I breathing? Am I good? Am I going to be able to continue this day without freaking out, losing it, blowing up on somebody, causing more harm than good? That's your first and foremost thing. Don't leave your house. Don't do anything until you check in with that. Don't worry about anybody else around you, because if you're not okay, you're going to spew that anger, that upset onto everybody else. So it really is priority. You need to be okay. And then you go about doing what you're doing. But don't worry about anybody else in this entire world on anything until you know you're okay, right? Really honest to God. Welcome, Jams. Tommy, how are you? Welcome. We're about halfway through, but this one is talking about patterns and checking in. If you want to talk about it, I'm here and I'll always leave the door open. I will do my very best to hear you out. But the one thing that I won't do is butt my nose into somebody else's energy. So you can ask all kinds of things. But if you're asking me about somebody else in your life, it's not my business. And I won't go peeking into their curtains. But I will check in with you. And if you need to be okay and there's something you need to understand, that's not getting into someone else's energy, I will do my very best to help you. But I wouldn't want anyone peeking in my curtains, and I wouldn't want to do it to you. And that's just a respect thing. I believe that the universe rewards us when we respect each and everyone's autonomy, right? So, welcome, Sarah. Hurt people can't help other hurt people. Right. You got to check in with yourself. You got to make sure you're doing okay. And even if you think that's why this accountability thing is so important, even if you think you're okay, but you're angry and you're upset, what's going to happen? You're going to go out into the world and someone's going to say something or do something that agitates you and you're going to tell them to F off. And 2 minutes later, you're going to feel like shit for it. Right. You're like, man, I shouldn't have did that. And you don't know what that person was going through. So what kind of spiral is that? They're going to spew that onto someone else. But if you say, okay, I don't have the capacity today. I don't have the capacity to deal with somebody. I don't have the capacity to go and deal with the cashier because I already know my temper and I know how I behave and I don't quite know how to fix it or heal it yet. But I know that this is the behavior when I'm tired, when I'm upset. I know this pattern. I see it. It happens all the time. And then I feel like crap. Then I beat myself up. Then I go into the spiral because something so stupid, because I cussed out somebody, told them to F off, that doesn't even know me. And if they really knew me, they'd probably love how amazing I am. But all they know of me is I told them to F off. Right. So now you're beating yourself up on that. That's what we're trying to stop here. We're catching that spiral. We're being accountable and saying, how am I today? Neha, welcome. Oh, Vars, welcome. How are you? So it's critical. Amen. It is critical. And that's why I talk about it. And I was just talking about it a couple of minutes before you came in, because I was like, that pause in that moment. And the idea is, I don't care where along the spectrum that you catch it, right? I don't care if you catch it right here at the very last minute. Be like, man, I almost spiraled. I almost did it, but you caught yourself, right? Because in that moment, you're like, what made me upset? What made this happen? What made me feel this anger? Was it no sleep? Was it stress from something else? Am I allowing all this stuff to where, Miss, a great warm day to you. It's my birthday tomorrow. Tomorrow's your birthday? Okay, so give me 1 second to finish this little chunk so I don't lose my brain of thought because I'm really bad. And I really want to pull an angel number for you for your birthday. Uh, 24th of January. How old are you going to be? Should I ask? Is that rude? Don't worry, I'm old, so you'll never get judgment out of me. Yeah, it is critical for survival. And it's something that when we can understand it, we really um, we escape that judgment and the self-criticism, and we give ourselves space to uh, get curious. And curiosity can take rage, like I'm gonna kill you rage, to whoa, why was I so upset about that? You see how far that went down? And then curiosity, there's no more rage, there's no anger, we're not going to hurt somebody, we're not going to hinder somebody, we're immediately here and we're saying, okay, how did that happen? Why? How can I change that? And then somewhere along the way, the next time you show up, you noticed it here. The next time you showed up, you noticed it back here and back here and back here. And that's what pattern recognition is, because each step of this spiral, each step of this pattern that becomes the accountability where we beat ourselves up and punish ourselves. Each step of that has a stage, and each stage has a pattern to get there. So when you notice each stage, each time you notice it, you're going to get a little bit earlier. And each time you notice it, you integrate that, you understand it, you observe it, and you know how to avoid it and change your behaviors before it gets to that stage. So you're healing it. It doesn't matter how many steps or stages it takes, but it allows you that space to heal it in a way of loving yourself, showing up, and truly giving yourself love. Welcome, Mimi. Are you still here, Neha? I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to miss it because 2001. Oh, honey, you're just a baby. You're just a baby. I love that so much for you. Uh, Shane, welcome. I wanted to hurry up and come here. Oh, I love that. Today, it's your birthday tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Saturday. I may just come on and do card pulls tomorrow for everybody. Come live for maybe an hour or two. We'll do some card pulls and have a little fun, some guidance. As long as we're not peeping in nobody's curtains, I'm okay with it. 7 is a great angel number, and I think they're all great because they all have meanings. From my Indian time has started, so it was ritually. Oh, I love that. Sims lover, welcome. Okay, I'm going to take a pause here and I'm going to pull. Oh, you got 2. 2020. Didn't you just have, what was the number? 2001. Compassion. That's a really great number too. So you're going to start seeing this everywhere, by the way. And when you do, you're going to have to comment or come back and let me know, because this is a good one. And compassion does not just mean compassion for everybody else. And the more we start understanding that, the more we can say, wait, am I showing more compassion for everybody else than myself, especially on things like your birthday? It's your birthday, so you want to show up. And compassion means, man, no matter what's going on today, I'm going to buy myself flowers. I'm going to make myself a cupcake. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have this, whatever you may or may not have. I do have love. I can make myself a cupcake. I can buy myself a present, right? Thank you so much for that. I miss what you're, thank you so much. My life path 1 and 6. Yeah, I forget what mine is. I think mine is 6, but I'm not sure. You got 2, so just wait up. And I just want to say mercy, diplomacy, potential, service, healing, and adaptability and renewal. Your beliefs and assumptions are validated, showing that you are on the right path. Embrace your talents and gifts, using them to benefit both the world and your own prosperity. Serve others with kindness and generosity, as your potential is boundless, right? So if you show up in service and you're doing the things, it's so funny that was the second one that came out, 777. You said 7 is a great angel number. That was Tommy over here. Said 7 was a great angel number. So I guess he decided you needed a little manifested wisdom in your life. And I love that. Yeah, I love that so much. That's how you know it's for you and you, Tommy. So take notice. Manifested wisdom. fulfillment, success, abundance, spiritual growth, and divine support. She says, I love you. Oh, I love you too. I love all of you. That's why I come here. And I even come and put up with the support and love to Tommy. There you go. All the way over on TikTok, they're sending you love, Tommy. Um, fulfillment, success, abundance, spiritual growth, and divine support. This message finds you at a time of uncertainty, yet rest assured that you will emerge victorious from any challenge you face. Remember, you possess valuable life experiences and wisdom that can inspire others. Sharing this wisdom will require enthusiasm and effort, but it will make a meaningful impact. So tell your stories, share your stories. But remember, 2020, right? You've got be compassionate first to yourself, especially on your birthday. Wake up, do that extra, what is it, the little foot, the foot bath, do the extra self-care, that little bit extra. Show compassion, give yourself a hug, cook yourself the best breakfast, right? If you got somebody to cook it for you, amazing. Really allow yourself to enjoy those moments, right? And celebrate yourself in any way, shape, or form. Celebrate yourself always first and foremost. Fausties, welcome. Okay, and what's this say? I was thinking in regards to other people treating you some type of way. Try to be pretty even, but like everyone else, I have limits. Once that line's crossed, I become Mr. NFG. Well, that's how it is, right? Um, but the idea is that we don't let them cross that line, and it's we can't control other people, right? But we can do is say, okay, you trigger me pretty often. You don't seem to hear when I'm setting a boundary. You don't seem to listen or understand that I'm trying to tell you for both of our protection. I'm trying to create a boundary so we have a safe space to work in, right? Whatever this relationship may be. Could be friendship, employees, work. It could be a million, but they're all relationships in one way, shape, or form. But when you create that boundary, and if somebody's not respecting it, you don't let them keep disrespecting it over and over and over until you snap. You say, okay, I noticed that this is how I'm feeling on a regular basis because I feel uncomfortable. You keep stepping over or just tapping the edge of my boundary, and it makes me feel unsettled and unsafe because I don't want to go to that negative place. Thank you so much. I still keep reflecting your self-love, self-check. Oh, thank you so much. And if you go on my YouTube, it's at Creativity Guides Me. You can always watch the replays. I have tons and tons and tons. I think I got like 250 or something videos there. So go check it out. There's tons there. But yeah, being accountable without punishing yourself is saying, maybe I don't need to deal with you. Maybe I need to step back because you're not respecting my boundaries. And then you don't have to be Mr. NFG. You just have to say, like, I don't feel good and I'm going to get to Mr. NFG. And I don't want to do that to you or to myself because I don't want to feel guilty about it. I don't want to feel guilty about being the asshole to you that you deserve in this moment. I don't want to do that. So instead of doing that, I'm going to step back and say, this doesn't feel good. So maybe we shouldn't converse right now, right? Maybe we should step back. And then they have the opportunity to either step up and go, maybe I'm not being very respectful. Maybe I can check in with myself. Or they can say, F you, I don't care. But either way, you're not in that situation anymore. I wrote so many pointers out of it on my journal, which I keep sharing with my younger ones. Oh, I love that. Thank you, my guardian angel. I'll have compassion, kindness throughout. I believe you will. Absolutely, I believe you will. But make sure it's for you first. It's your birthday. You're going to celebrate. You. Doesn't matter who doesn't any of those things. You get the prizes. You get the wins. You get those little extra. Make sure you do little extra everything for you. We should be our own harshest critic. Be a special kind of hypocrite to be critical. Right. Well, see, that's the problem is we get to that space where we start criticizing other people. And then as soon as we turn that back on ourselves and we're like, wait, I'm kind of an asshole sometimes. Wait, I get cranky and I behave like that. you become less judgmental, first of all, and you understand maybe they're just having a bad day. So if I keep at them when they're having a bad day, I'm almost guaranteeing the spiral. You're noticing a pattern. You're noticing that, and when I'm overcritical of myself, I feel bad, I feel guilty, and then all these other things come up. We should not be criticizing ourselves. We should be observing, because if we're starting to criticize, guess what? And it's true both ways, right? So this is the most important thing. If you're overcritical of somebody else, 1000% you're overcritical of yourself. It's the way it is, because you're holding yourself up to this unattainable standard every single day. You don't have the capacity, right? Some days you do, and some days it's amazing, but some days shit fucks up. Life, things screw up, and you didn't get enough sleep, or you didn't eat properly, or you get in a car accident. Something happens, and that changes the capacity of every single thing you do, right? So that accountability, it's about being accountable. Okay, shit's not really great today. Things aren't really going the greatest. So instead of putting myself in this situation where I have to be overly critical of this person, that person, and then beat myself up because I was extra negative, I know my capacity is not very good. So I'm going to maybe stay at home, watch a movie. Uh, I'm going to go to work. And if people come against me, I'm like, I'm not really in a happy mood today. So respectfully, it's nothing to do with you, but I just need a little space, a little overtired, whatever, however much you feel like giving. But you don't have to put yourself in that situation. Um, and when that happens, you allow yourself to back up. You keep yourself from that stage where you can actually beat yourself up or be overcritical or negative to someone else who may be having a bad day too. We have a Hope you have a blessed weekend, man. I've got to get to it. 7 is a great number. Any combination. Amen. 7 is beautiful. And that's because that's connection with source. And when you connect to spirit, when you have your alignment and your connection to spirit, you're allowed to trust your intuition. You're allowed to be guided. And um, that's the whole point of taking that breath and checking in. Uh, we're beating that spiral. We're beating that anger and anxiety and all that frustration because we're trusting ourselves. We're saying, I trust you, and I'm going to show up and I'm going to listen. Um, and that's when spirit tells us, you already know how this gets, right? And you'll get a little nudge. You'll get that little feeling of anger and anxiety way, way, way early. And be like, oh, I already see where this is going. And you may not say it out loud. You may not notice it, but every single time you did something that was way off, or you did the spiral, or you felt bad because you shit all over somebody because you're having a bad day, every single time, way back here, there'll be this, oh, I know how this goes, right? And that will be your little warning, and it's letting you know, be aware. And if you can catch it way back there, you save yourself a gazillion ways of hurting yourself. 111 on the clock. Anything spiritual, ritual. I wish you'll have to send me an email. Where do you live? Are you in Canada or the US? Because if you send me your address, you may have to go to my website to get my email. Just type in your screen name and send me an email and remind me. But I'll send you my abundance bath soak for your birthday. And that's the best ritual there is. Just be present, love yourself, and celebrate yourself. So Canada, perfect. Yes. Okay, so my website is creativelyguided.ca. Don't go try to order anything. Just go to the contact and send me an email with your name and address. And I'm sending out to actually a friend of mine in Toronto Monday. So it won't get there in time for your birthday. I'm sorry, I didn't know in advance. But if you send me the email with your address, I will send it out Monday, and it'll take a few days, but you can either save it for next birthday or just do what you wish with it. But it doesn't matter what you do. The ritual is love yourself, show up and say, I'm amazing. I'm 1 year smarter, better, stronger, faster, more compassionate. 1 more year amazing. And everything I do from this day forward is going to be my best. I'm going to step out. I'm going to step out strong, and I'm going to love myself. And that's it. That's your ritual. Speak your greatness every single day. Hi, Christian. How are you? Happy Friday. I'm great. How are you? This means more than anything. I was thinking anything South Bath. That's what it is. So it's not up on my website for sale yet. I'm waiting for my envelope. So you'll be getting it in a small little container. Um, it's like a plastic container, but I'm trying to get the bags, right? So they could come. So I'm working on that. Once I get those, then I will actually be putting it up on my website. But it's beautiful. It smells so good. I use it all the time. It's my favorite. And of course, I had to test it 100 times. I gave it out to a bunch of people for Christmas, and they absolutely loved it. So uh, do, please go send me the email. Make sure you put your screen name for TikTok. Um, and remind me, and I will send it out Monday when I send out the other one. I'm really great. I hope you're doing really well. All right, I got distracted. I'm sorry, guys. I like to talk, but I really love to. I love to give gifts. I love to do nice things for people, and I really like to share what I make. And honest to God, if I could make money just talking all my life and make the stuff that I make and give it out as gifts, I would be at my absolute happiest. So, but until then, I got to make a little money someday. Um, so um, patterns ask for attention. Oh, pardon me. Wait, taking a breath, cutting the spiral. Oh, yeah, we did that already. You're saying this deserves attention, not attack, right? When we start to notice it, we create that space for ourselves, and that's where we start to make changes. Instead of punishing ourselves or having to hide away because we felt guilty for something that we did that we shouldn't. You're the loveliest soul. You're beauty. Oh, thank you, sweetie. I'm just who I am. The good thing is now I don't have to be afraid of it. There was many years where I was punished for being who I am, right? Which is why when you see me come on here and I do all these talks and I do this, I'm so passionate about it because these people that do these things to us that we don't even recognize that they're doing, right? I was 42 before I understood. I always knew there was a better way. I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was. And every single time it was put on me, right? I was the bad guy. I was doing something wrong because I was reacting, right? I was reacting to abuse. I was reacting to being mistreated. And the only way I knew how. And what happens is when you get to that space, what happens? Right? You beat yourself up. Oh, it must be right. I must deserve this treatment. I must. It's all my fault. And that can wear you down so bad. You start to give up on yourself. You stop showing up for yourself. You stop doing the things that you're really, really good at. And those things that you're really, really good at, you don't even know anymore because you've lost all your self confidence. You don't believe anything that you actually do believe, right? You don't even know what you believe anymore. It's a spiral that can go to the depths of hell. And we're not doing that anymore. The whole idea is when we start checking ourselves and understanding. And the first attention, not attack, is would I do that to somebody else? Well, when I'm mad, I do because it's okay. So why? But only when I'm mad. Would I do that to somebody if I'm having a good day? Would I do that to somebody if I'm happy? No. So where's the difference, right? Now you're starting to get curious. You're not punishing yourself. Why would I not do that when I'm not mad? And why does that happen when I'm mad? Now you're getting answers and you're paying attention. Sorry, I'm talking too much. I need a drink. Love the talks. Thank you so much. I'm when I tell you I had to walk through these fires 1,000 times, I can't give you all the answers, but I can give you the questions and I can give you the things where if you love yourself, and this is self-love is always going to be my first and foremost priority. Because if you're not loving yourself, you're never going to show up. You're never going to show up properly for yourself, right? Uh, and it did. It took me a really, really long time to learn that. So um, the reason I share it the way I do is because these patterns are deep. They're dug deep. And even when you think you're healing, you know how many times I went through life before the 42 where I thought I was already healed? That was my favorite part. Oh, yeah, I was healed. It was perfect. And all of a sudden, someone says something out of nowhere that I don't even really know. And I'm damn near laying them out. I'm ready to fight, like physical fight, right? It just like, whoa, where'd that come from? Right? Guess I'm not healed. But you learn after the fact, right? You learn when it's too late. And we're all going to go through those stages, and we're all going to screw up, and we're all going to have those times where we act stupid, act a fool, do stupid stuff because we didn't catch it in time. But we're not judging ourselves for that. We're understanding, okay, we know that we have these patterns. We know what they are. Now it's about not punishing ourselves. They're there because they were a self-protection. Okay, when you were a kid, they were protecting you in chaos. They were saving you from getting beat up at school, saving you from your parent knocking you out because you did something wrong, saving you from that aunt or uncle that would just say some nasty things and made you feel uncomfortable. Right? There's a million reasons that those reactions, those patterns happen, and there could be no real reason. My 2 years of healing, I thought the same. Learn to unlearn. You have to really unlearn it. And you don't know what it is until 9 times out of 10, you're already far past the trigger. All I'm trying to do is say, I can help you find the trigger. I can help you acknowledge it, and I can help you love yourself through it. Right? Because the idea is, in the middle of the trigger, you can still, as soon as you start that trigger, you can be like, whoa, where'd that come from? Right? Why is that happening? And if you can learn to take that pause, that whoa, back it up, you can literally save your life. You can save this thing. And it's okay to say, yo, that I'm triggered right now and I gotta go. Right? But you're not in jail, you're not in prison, you didn't kill anybody. Were you perfect that time? No. But you didn't do something stupid. You said, nope, I'm gonna go. That's enough of this, right? uh, and then the next time you're about to happen, you're a little step earlier and you caught it, and you're like, damn, last time I almost snapped. This time, ooh, I feel a little shaky, I feel a little agitated. But I understand. Well, why do I feel agitated? What is it that's making me here? Because I'm not here. I'm not snapping yet. So what is it that's making me feel here? Is it not enough sleep? Is it too much traffic? Am I feeling unsafe? And each time you show up just a little bit better and a little bit better, and you catch it before, right? And it just becomes earlier and earlier, and eventually you get to the core, right? And it becomes easier. So the more it happens, you're just committing to yourself. That is the highest, purest form of self-love you can ever do. Forget abundance bath soaks. Forget buying yourself coffee and flowers and celebrating yourself. Affirming your greatness in the mirror every single day. You should do that. It doesn't have to always be in the mirror. It can be all the time. Saying thank you to the universe for all of the things that you're lucky enough to experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Uh, and of course, celebrating yourself and showing up and saying thank you for showing me this, because now I can fix it. Now I can adjust for it. Now I can make changes, um, and I'm going to, because I love myself and I'm worth that. I don't want to feel guilty or shameful or punished for something that wasn't even mine to carry. It was a trigger from something that happened when I was a kid, from something I didn't understand, and sometimes it was from a projection, something you didn't even understand, not even a trauma you went through. It was something you saw someone else go through, right? The way these fears and these triggers and all these emotional baggage come up is not something we can always explain, right? Not right away, until we get curious and we start getting curious and asking those questions and peeling back the layers. And that's why if you go through my fire and flow, my grace in the grind, this is the accountability. The next one, I'm going to give you a sneak peek, but it's alchemy emotion. So now instead of, yes, we're taking the breath, yes, we're doing the pauses, but you get so good at it that you do it in motion. You don't stop. You're like, okay, what is going on? What do I need to know? How do I understand? Do I still stay down this path? Do I make a change? How can I do that? And what are my options? I'm not in survival. I'm taking the breath. I understand. And now instead of life or death, I still have 4, 5, 6 different options. Do I know the answers to all of them? No. But I know if I don't take life or death in the extremes, any one of these is going to take me somewhere that's not life and death. 1, 2, 3 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. And that's where the change really starts to take place. So The patterns ask for attention, not punishment. And I can't stress it enough. And if you can't see the way I repeat it, the reason I repeat it is because it's so damn important. And people let it go and they ignore it and they pack it back here. And then you're so weighed down, you can't even sort through the shit. You don't even know where to start. And then you're so overwhelmed over dealing with trying to sort through it that you just give up along the way. And we don't want to do that. We want to start small, tiny little baby steps, one little bite-sized step at a time. Uh, so we're noticing and we're catching it, and we don't have to beat ourselves up anymore, and we don't have to pile on more shit to sort through. We're peeling it back, but it's small. It's like dealing with a child. Treat ourselves like the little kids that we were when we needed the struggle, when we needed the help, and we needed someone to say, I see you, right? We're just saying, I see you to ourselves, right? Well, who was it? Somebody, I missed somebody that came in. I'm sorry. I didn't welcome you. I'm sorry. Uh, but everybody's welcome always, I promise. So I feel seen here. I appreciate that. And I really do. It's important because there are places where you don't feel seen. And sometimes we don't want to feel seen. Sometimes we want to be just left alone, leave us be. And that's fine. And I get a lot of people that come in and pop in and out, and they take their little message and they feel a little happier, a little stronger, a little more supported through the day. And at the end of the day, they'll come back and watch, or they won't, but they got their little 5 minutes. When I come on here, I give my love freely. I give my strength. I give my knowledge freely. And I do that because when I was struggling and I was trying to learn, there was many people, and it was a little video here, it was a little research here, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It saved my life. And I wouldn't have got that if I didn't trust myself enough to follow those little nudges, to trust where I was being guided. Thank you for this fruitful, vital session. Like my compassion guidance to myself. Well, we have to start with ourselves. We can't move forward if we don't, right? And if we're giving it to everyone else, here's the thing that happens is resentment. And you don't notice it. And sometimes it's just in the back of your brain. But when you're giving to somebody else, have you ever felt, if you've never felt this, then lucky you. But if you've ever felt, man, if somebody showed up for me like the way I showed up for that person, how much would I be able to use that? How much would I be able to leap forward? How much help would that have been for me? How amazing would that have been? I would have never wasted it. If you ever once felt that, that's saying to you, okay, but you're doing it for somebody that doesn't appreciate it. You know they don't appreciate it. So instead of doing it for those people that don't appreciate it, maybe I should be that person to myself. If I can be that person to myself, that I was so know that I would have never taken advantage. I would have never wasted it. I would have used it to the very best potential. Why are we giving it to people that don't give a shit? We're giving it for the people that show up, for the people that want to take part. We're giving it for that, but we're not giving it to those until we give it to ourselves, right? That's accountability. That's accountability without showing up. I'm not mad at you because you didn't take it. You didn't use what I gave you. I'm mad at me because I could have given it to me. Right. And that's where that, um, sorry, I lost the word. That's where you get frustrated, right? That's where you, um, build up all of that anxiety and stress and upset because you're not being resentment. That's the word I was looking for. It would not come to me. I don't know why, but that's when you build up all that because you're like, why? I wish somebody would do that for me. And then you end up in lack because you're seeking this thing outside of you. When obviously you're that power and that strength and all of those amazing things because you did that for those people that didn't enjoy it, that didn't take advantage, and that didn't use it. So now when you do it, you filled your own cup. You trust yourself. You're like, nope, I need to know and understand myself first. And when I do that and I check in and I'm accountable to what I need first, now I'm full. I'm not lacking. If you take my information, great. If you use it, fantastic. If you don't, it doesn't hurt me. I know that the ones that need it are going to get exactly what they need out of it, right? And I'm not going to be like, oh, you didn't use it, so now I don't like you. I don't want to deal with you. No, it's out here. It's for anybody, and it's free. But it doesn't drain me. It doesn't cause anxiety. It doesn't cause resentment because I learned how to check in with myself first. my capacity, how I'm feeling, what I'm learning, what I understand. So that's the whole idea. That's where accountability is. And when we check in and feel ourselves first, we don't get to the resentment. We don't get to the fighting. We don't get to the spiral because we're like, I don't have the capacity today. I know who I am. So I'm not going to go and just put myself in a place where I know I'm going to spiral and get stupid and do this and do that. I'm going to say, nah, I ain't got the capacity. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to do dishes instead of, or order out because I don't want to blow up on my kids. Is it worth $30 for me to just, say, I don't want to do dishes and I don't want to cook today? I'm not saying do it every day. I'm saying understanding that once in a while, those times that you understand your capacity allows you the space where you don't get to that blow up. So I took the initiative, as you mentioned. Perfect. As an empath, it's so hard, even after having discernment. Oh, the empath thing is huge because you store other people's emotions, right? And if you don't let it flow through, you stop yourself, you hinder yourself so much because first, before you even understand all that, you got to sort through your emotions. Is this my emotions or is this somebody else's? And just in case you didn't know, everyone talks about all this about spirituality and all of these connectedness and intuitive and all that stuff. But I need everybody to understand 99.9% of being an empath is a trauma response. And when yes, it is a gift. It is a gift, okay? But it's a trauma response. It was put there for you to understand, to read the room, to see, to have discernment, to understand what's going on, right? So you can see the people that aren't straight up, the people that aren't true, the people that are lying to you. You're a walking lie detector, right? Because you can feel the emotions. But what happens is if you don't learn to pause and separate, is that what I'm feeling? Is that really what I'm thinking? Is that what's going on? You allow it and it weighs you down. And that's how you end up exploding because you can't even discern, right? So this is why this accountability, that's why this checking in, that pausing, that finding the pattern. Is this my pattern? Is this something I do? No, then it's not my emotion. I know that. So back out, not mine, not carrying it. You got to go, move along, right? It's a lot easier, but it takes time and it takes practice. I needed to hear this. I'm trying to learn how to not absorb people emotion. Yeah, well, not taking it. Ma'am, I really wish to learn this. My energies are scattered. Get centered. That's that breath, that pause, as often as you can. Change the energy. If you're sitting there and you start to feel scattered, tap your desk. Get up, walk, go do dishes. It's simple changes. I'm telling you one little thing. Okay, take that breath. Why? Why am I feeling scattered right now? What is going on around me that I can change? These are the questions. These are the patterns that ask for attention. We're not punishing ourselves because we're scattered. We're understanding why we're scattered. We're feeling the feels so we don't stay scattered. Okay, how can I calm myself in this moment? Sometimes it's going for a walk. So pick up a book, right? Learn how to knit, do something, start painting, draw, doodle. Like literally take your pen and start scribbling on a paper. Even if you can't draw, just start scribbling because you're doing something to change the energy. And then you're allowing your mind a free moment to get out of the chaos and say, what is this trying to show me? Right? I'm trying to work on it. Yes, take your time. That's all you can do. You can't punish yourselves. Was I perfect this time? No. Am I going to do better? You're damn right I am. I'm getting better every single time. Thank you for showing me this one lesson, this one understanding, because now the next one I'm going to do better. And you're speaking it out. I'm going to pause just a little longer. I'm going to listen a little harder, right? I'm going to be waiting for the answer. You're doing that for yourself. Welcome, Gypsy. Okay, so patterns ask for attention, not punishment. This is where accountability becomes empowering. Punishment sounds like forcing productivity, withdrawing kindness. So being kind to somebody and saying, well, that's it, I take it back. You didn't treat me the way I expected you to treat me, so I'm going to take it back, right? Or wondering why someone else has withdrawn their kindness. It's not, you don't have to deal with anybody else. You just have to be accountable for yourself, right? And when you do that, usually that's where the resentment has already been building up. And the idea is that we're going to catch that before it ever gets to that, right? Attention sounds like, and that means withdrawing kindness to yourself too. So at the end of the day, it's not just being kind to everyone else. It's saying to yourself, Why am I being mean to myself right now? Yeah, I struggled. Yeah, I kind of spiraled a little bit, but I noticed it. I noticed it mid spiral. Why am I beating myself up for something where before I'd be in jail right now, or I'd be doing something really crazy, stupid to hurt myself or somebody else because I would let it get that far? I stopped it here. I didn't quite get there. That's a celebration. We're not beating ourselves because we screwed up again. Yeah, maybe we weren't perfect, but damn, we stopped it back here. We saved it. And then the next time it's a little bit more, right? But that's what we're worried about. That's what we want to deal with. We're not punishing ourselves. We're not withdrawing kindness. We're going to say, I'm going to be extra kind and I'm going to just take a moment for myself and celebrate the fact that I didn't screw it up all the way this time. 101 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. All right. So attention sounds like adjusting expectations. Is there something I can change? Am I setting my expectations too high? Is my capacity okay for something I'm reaching this high for today? Or maybe should I lower it just a little bit for the day and understand that it will always make up because I'm going to save that energy and tomorrow I'll rock it through it, right? Adding support instead of pressure, right? Whether it's self-support, our baths, our little rituals, our affirmations, the things that we do to speak our greatness into the world, asking for support. I just need a friend to listen to. I need a shoulder to lean on a little bit here. I'm struggling. Could I have a little help? Those kind of things. And if you don't know what they are, how can you ask for them, right? How can someone help you if they don't know what they're going for, right? So, and then changing the environment instead of blaming yourself, right? You're at work and this coworker always makes you anxious and stresses you out and just causes chaos. You'd be like, hey, maybe I'm going to work at this station over here, right? Or if they start talking to you and you know they're aggravating you, then you'd be like, hey, bud, like, I'm really not feeling talkative today. You're finding ways to change the situation and the outcome. Nick Gamer, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And then when you give a pattern attention, it softens, it becomes flexible. There's things that you can change. It allows you the space to make change without punishing yourself, right? And it stops needing to scream to be noticed, right? Now instead of screaming in your ear and that constant chaos that's buzzing around you, where you start to feel heated and your chest tightening and your face starting to feel hot, because that's what it feels like when you're ready to explode, right? It stops needing to scream to be noticed. Accountability isn't about being harder on yourself. It's about being honest without cruelty. And that scream starts to slow to a loud voice, to a regular talk, to a whisper until it's gone. And you don't have to worry about that trigger anymore. It really is a good space. I'm going to pull, before the end of this, I always like to pull a couple cards to confirm the message. I'm not pulling the whole deck because it's a long time and I have to leave at 1:30. It's already 1 o'clock. Nuts. I talk a lot, I'll tell you that. Okay, can I have one gratitude card on this message? How we can show up and make sure we're being thankful in these times where we're recognizing the pattern. That alone should be. All right. Oh, I love this. Low self-esteem is like driving through life with your handbrake on. You hold yourself back. And how do you get low self-esteem? When you beat yourself up and criticize yourself instead of understanding many, many ways to do it with love and compassion. Compose a letter to your future self. Who do you think you'll be in 10 years from now? Right? Imagine that. Imagine who you would be in 10 years, right? Are you going to be somebody, are you going to write a letter that's all full of negativity? Are you going to write a letter that beats yourself up and criticizes you? Or are you going to write a letter that's going to speak your absolute greatness and say, through any struggle, I'm going to find the way and I'm going to trust myself and I'm going to listen to myself and I'm not going to beat myself up. And I'm going to be so grateful. The letter to my future self. Thank you for showing up and showing me the love that allowed me to find the space for myself. The ways that we change these things in our outlook are so simple once we start practicing it. The immediate, it feels overwhelming and full of chaos and all kinds of craziness. But at the end of the day, when you learn it and you start to understand it and you start putting it into use, the celebrations become more and more, and the empowerment and the confidence and the limits come off. There's no limit to what you can accomplish, right? CEO Tesla Space, welcome. I hope you have a good day. Okay, can I have one of these on the message, please? What do we got? Gracious receptivity. Amen. Okay, I'm going to read this one because also angel number 28. Have a look. We know how I am with angel numbers, and oh, I missed it. Sorry. All right. Just look at that. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. All right. So, gratitude, being thankful, receptivity, giving without expectation, how worthiness and self love can affect your capacity to receive and to give without depletion, overflow, over obligation, thriving over surviving, and gifting economies, right? If there is a manual for optimal human experience, one of the most potent points would be gratitude. It is the backbone of all spiritual practice. Writing a list of the things you are grateful for has been scientifically proven to have a profound positive effect on the mind and nervous system. When we shift our perspective from what we are lacking, needing, and desiring, we temporarily replace the survival factor with resonance for thriving. When we acknowledge the miracle of our existence and how far we have come despite the challenges, it can bring back our inner smile. Gratitude can enliven an attitude of, I've got this. One of the best tricks for bringing something into your life is to already be thankful for it, as if it has already arrived. This sets up the frequency of fullness and plenty rather than emptiness and need. As we have mentioned before, like attracts like, but where but there is a whole other power at play here, as true gratitude is anchored in the heart. Being moved by the sheer awe of appreciation and the thankfulness is hugely pivotal to the way others and our environment responds to us. The next step is to give from our hearts without being asked or invited. When we emanate a field of new earth consciousness, giving can free us from expectation just by knowing that we can all thrive together when everything flows as a system of gifting. Uh, yes, others may take advantage, but if you drop the fear of this outcome, it is quite likely that those of this frequency will also fall away. Holding up a beacon of light this way creates incentive and inspiration to those around you. As their cup fills, it unlocks space within them for resources in other areas. Thus, this giving overflow that has a domino effect from person to person. Receptivity is a critical factor in the art of giving. Those who struggle to feel they have the resources to give away may also have trouble receiving. Some do not feel worthy enough to receive, even from themselves. As mentioned, heart energy is key to gratitude and receptivity. Here, it brings us to self love and how important it is for feeling full enough so that our overflow doesn't deplete. And if you were here earlier, you would have heard this is completely aligned with the message. I don't know if Neha's still here. Welcome, Corey. How are you? Uh, but when I tell you it couldn't be more aligned, you'll have to go watch the replay on my YouTube. But I promise you, it's about as aligned as can get. Uh, when you allow yourself to receive from those in their heart's joyous overflow and give from a place beyond expectation or obligation, a whole new paradigm reveals itself. You will discover a new way of thriving. Giving and receptivity is a two-way flow. Each allows space for the other. When we are in our hearts, we have limitless resources, and that starts with gratitude. Could gifting economies be the seed for a more joyful time of making the world go round? Consider your relationship with gratitude, how comfortable you feel receiving, and what you love to give. Are there themes that allow you the joyous overflow of giving without limitation? How can you add this to the lives of others more often, away from the fear that you will get used up if you give without guaranteed reciprocity? Are there areas where you are overextending yourself? Can you give more from areas where you are stronger and have more skill and capacity? Right now, you may feel you have little to give. If so, allow yourself to receive more. The gift of the sun on your face on a winter's day or a compliment from a stranger. Allow yourself to drink every drop. After all, it is up to you how deeply you wish to drink of the gift that is shared. Often we take only a little sip, even when there is so much more we could appreciate. And yet it is beautiful when you give to someone and they light up and receive it fully. Gratitude, self love, and self worth are interwoven with the capacity to receive. Together, they nourish your soul. Step into your heart space by listing all you are grateful for and notice how full you start to feel. From this place, your gifting capacity can spiral upward. We don't spiral downward. We don't worry about it. We don't punish ourselves because we're understanding that even learning the lesson, even being accountable, even showing up and learning to understand those things, we create that space for ourselves. We create that space, we stop the spiral, and we're learning a lesson. And that lesson was meant just for us in exactly the way that we needed to understand it. 111 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. And for those of us that know those angel numbers, you know that that is a new beginning. And every single breath you take, every different choice, and every moment you have the absolute opportunity to make a different choice, right? That's your new beginning. You change the entire trajectory of your life by one simple decision to not spiral, to not punish yourself, to not criticize, to notice the pattern. All right, I got one angel number, please. I know we did one for Neha, but I want one just specifically. Thank you. 0404. This is specific on this message. Slow down. And that pause, it can't be any more aligned. That pause, that moment, that moment of learning and understanding will literally save your life. It will change the way you behave, and it will change how you show up for yourself without punishment and with accountability, but self-love. Balance, power struggle, force, violence, hope, authority, ancestors, restlessness, low vibrations, and warning. Pay close attention to the people in your life, your surroundings, and your physical health. Don't freak out. It's just a warning to be careful and awake to avoid any further issues. Communicate and keep healthy boundaries. Understanding that when you check in with yourself and when you know what your capacity is, when you know your ability to dive deep, to be patient, uh, to understand exactly what you can deal with and what you can't, uh, it's easier to set boundaries. It's easier to trust yourselves all along the way. It's easier to show up, make a different choice. And in turn, when you slow down and you take that moment to pause, you don't end up stuck in a place of accountability, a place of punishment, a place of self-criticism. You end up in a space of enlightenment, curiosity, and a space of learning instead of punishing yourself. And in that learning, you allow yourself to grow, uh, to create wisdom, learned experience, and in turn protect yourself from having to punish yourself, right? Because we don't want to do that anymore. Is this the last shuffle? All right, we got two, and that means they matter. When I move my body, I feel empowered, cleansed, and strong. These are just affirmations, and they're simple little ones, but I don't know, this camera doesn't like to see it, but there you go. When I move my body, I feel empowered, cleansed, and strong, right? In those moments where you feel agitated, where you're unsure how to move forward, what to do, get up and move. Take any kind of movement. Get up, go for a walk around your coffee table, walk around your kitchen table, walk from one end of the house to the other. Do something that changes the energy and it allows you that pause to think. Welcome, Dee Dee. I see grace and possibility in all of life's challenges. Those challenges, the struggles, all of the things that come about, that come into play, that have to make you pause and check in with yourself so you don't spiral, so you can ask those questions, so you're not punishing yourself, so you're showing up with self-love. Those are challenges, and all of them are meant there so you can pay attention to what's going on and what's happening, which is a very beautiful gift. And when we learn to be grateful for that and understand that, we don't punish ourselves anymore. So I hope at the end of this, I really hope that I at least was able to share a little bit of ways, a little bit of questions, a little bit of bite-sized stuff, little tiny tools that we could put in our belt to save ourselves in those moments and to learn how to love ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because you don't get to the good without learning, understanding, and growing from the bad and the ugly. And that's really important to understand. Mystic Bloom, welcome. So my closing here is, if a pattern keeps showing up, it's not asking you to be better. It's asking you to listen. What does it mean? What is it trying to show me? How do I understand this? Uh, Patterns don't mean you're failing. They mean something more important. Something important wants your care. They want you to show up. They want you to pay attention. They want you to understand what is it that you need so you can show up a little bit better. Um, Accountability isn't punishment, it's relationship. And patterns are invitations, not verdicts. So when we can show up for ourselves just a little bit better, a little bit more with love and compassion and support instead of criticism and punishment, we have an opportunity and we create a relationship and a space, an invitation to change how we perceive it, how we behave, how we react, how we respond. And that's a pretty exciting thing to understand, and it's definitely worth being grateful for. That's what I have for this day. It has been long. There will be one live maybe this weekend. I'm thinking about tomorrow where I come on. I just do some fun, some card pulls, some stuff like that. I'll do one of those, but every week there will be at least one of the accountability. There's 3 more sessions for that. I'm working on the next one for February and March. Um, and all next week there'll be a bunch of lives because I have to do the February action steps for all my signs. So if you have a little extra guidance you might need, it kind of helps just based on the signs and the planetary alignment. Um, with things that would be more useful for you to focus on individually, like per your zodiac sign, things that can help you focus, be a little bit better, where you need to show yourself maybe a little more love, a little more grace. Um, and in that space, it allows you to learn a lot more and not beat yourself up because we're done doing that, right? I really, truly appreciate you guys. I'm going to hang up on this one. Bye bye, TikTok friends. I appreciate you. You can watch the replay on my YouTube. It's always up there. It's at Creativity Guides Me. And you can go to my website, creativelyguided.ca, for all of the healing hub, my teas, my tinctures, my art, all my good stuff. I love you guys and have a good day. And then I can't hang up. I can't hang up at the moment. Oh, it's singing to me. It's singing to me. Okay. All right. So I'm done there and I'm about to get off here too. I just wanted to share this. Again, the live replays are up and you can go back. I'm trying to make playlists for those specifically, like my fire and flow content, the grace and the grind. This one is accountability without self-punishment. I'm trying to make each one its own playlist so we can it and go back to it at any time. There's always going to be lots of good stuff there. The monthly action steps will always be by sign. So um, Scorpio, Leo, whatever it may be, um, going through. So you can always look that up. Also, same thing for you guys. My website is always available. In February, we'll be having my bath soak up there, the one I was talking to Neha about earlier. It will be up there for sale for everybody. But right now, I got my teas, my tinctures, my art, my alignment bundles, all kinds of good stuff. Lots of free stuff there too. It takes you to my content, to some breathing exercises, little small things we can do to slow down and take a moment to love ourselves. So that's what I have for today. Tomorrow I'll be back on just for a little fun stuff, I think. But other than that, that's what I got. I love you guys so much. I hope this helps. And oh, I froze. There we go. I hope this helps. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.